Greetings. As summertime is often the case for vacationing, and our pastor is away this week, I have talked to him about and thought this might be a good time to give you a little demonstration of our water organ. You've heard me talk about the instrument during church often or on occasion, and I've mentioned and written in my newsletters from time to time, but it's not often that you get a chance to go inside and see. So you'll have to be patient with me. This is not the kind of thing that there is a class on, and indeed I've taken a better part of my life to understand the best way to experience and learn about these is to crawl in them, because although certain aspects are similar, many things are unique and different to each builder. So here we go. We'll give you a little virtual tour. Many of you remember or perhaps have watched Mr. Rogers and his neighborhood. Well, one of the fun things about him was that often he would give tours and take us into well-known institutions, products that we used in our lives, and he'd show us how things were made and how they came about. So in my humble attempt to emulate this man, I'm going to try to give you a little bit of a tour of the organ. And after all, if you'll know, there was a connection there to the Presbyterian Church, so I think it's even more appropriate. So anyway, these instruments, if Lisa can show you, they began and started out as a very tiny instrument. They were handheld, and I've said this on occasion, you actually had to pump them to get the air. So you can see they've changed quite a bit. They've gone from a little handheld thing to what I've referred to as your home has bedrooms in it. And this organ has 4 different rooms of pipes, so to speak, bedrooms if you want to call them, or chambers as we call them. So you used to have to pump the instrument to get the supply. Well, today we have this handy thing called electricity. So if Lisa will show you, I'm going to hit this little button here. Wow, that's hard. There's a bellow, I will show you this when we go inside, that fills up with air. It's essentially a supply of air. And so before we go inside, since I'm at the console, perhaps I'll just show you a few things. Again, I've talked about this in church. You notice all these knobs. This is how organists essentially will rate or talk about the instrument we have. We refer to them as rank. Each one of these buttons is a different sound, generally a different sound, and a different set of pipes. So in other words, one pipe for each note on the keyboard for this stop, one pipe. So if you do math, you can see how there are a lot of pipes up here. And with the lights on, you can start to see, I'll take you up later and show how they're organized. You essentially have 2 types of pipes. There are your trumpet sounds, your reeds, they're louder, you know. And then you have your flute sounds, which are generally a little more delicate. And then, of course, your pedal are just pipes, but they're a lot bigger, obviously, than the small pipes. Pipes can range from 32 to 64 feet tall that you could stand inside. And those sometimes are less heard and more felt, to the size of about a pencil. They sound a little more like dog whistles. Again, I'll show you those when we're up there. I don't know if you can hear that. We're not using our new microphone system, and then the low pipes, you may not hear these. They just sort of shake and rumble down below. So that's your basic setup of the organ. I've talked about rooms of pipes, and there are 2 types of rooms. There are rooms that, in our rooms in our home, we have a door that opens to enter. Well, this organ has 2 types of rooms. One where there's 3 walls, it's enclosed, and one side is open. There's no door or anything. And then there are 2 rooms where you have on one side what looks like Venetian blinds, although they're a lot bigger. I will show you these when we go up. And that helps to regulate sound. So the rooms of pipes that have no door or no louvers on the side, they're always the same loudness. You can't make them louder or softer. However, the rooms with these louvers, like Venetian blinds, that open up like this, you can make them louder or softer. If Lisa can show you these two little things down here, they look like gas pedals. They're actually expression shades. That's how we control the sound. So if I have a stop in a room with these louvers, it gets soft when you close them. It gets loud when you open them. It's one way we can control sound other than adding more stops. You've heard the term pulling out all the stops. Well, there's a reason for that. The more stops, generally the louder, because you're adding more sound and more air, more wind. What else can I tell you? The nice thing about our water organ, and I should start there. Water organ. People have asked me, there's water in the organ. No, it has nothing to do with water. There are instruments that are, the blowers before electricity were powered by water in gravity, but that is not the case in this organ. This is electrified in that sense. It was named water organ because of the donor. There was a special connotation to water and its healing powers, and I believe it was one of their sons who liked to go down, sit by the water and talk, if I recall. Anyway, this organ has the best of both worlds because it is both mechanical and electric. Each one of these keys, and I will show you this later, it's connected mechanically. There are levers that go from the organ under the floor behind the organ and up into the chambers itself. So when you press a key and there's a stop on, you're actually connecting to a lever under the pipe that releases a valve and lets air out. It's a wonderful touch for those of you who play. It's very different from playing an electric keyboard, which many of us feel is sort of fake. This is a little more depth to it. You feel like you have more control, and it's good for technical development. So another difference in this. On the other hand, we have the modern world, which is these little lights here, if Lisa can show you. These are sort of computerized. It's a memory capture system. So you can imagine when I'm playing, you see all these stops, if Lisa can show you on either side. It's very hard to change a large amount of stops while you're playing to get a different sound. So with the aid of these little, this computer capture system, I have 300 some levels. I can set essentially everything here. I go to memory 301, I choose this level. This is where I have, let's say, my hymn set up. And then I press these numbers down here. Number 2 has a sound on it, and the stops come out. I can change the sound to number 3. This changes the sound. So I can essentially do this quickly without the aid of people to my side. There used to be, before this, registrants that stood on either side of a large organ, and they would actually have to pull stops while the person was playing. Because of this, it's not necessary. So you can see stops move very quickly by pressing the button. And for an added convenience, they actually light up so you know where you are on this organ. I think most of that is most of what is important from the console standpoint. So perhaps Lisa and I will head into the chamber, and we're going to, as you face the organ, there are 2 doors, 2 ways to enter the organ. There's a door on your left side at the base and a door on the right side of the base. We're going to actually go into the left side because this is where some of the most interesting stuff starts, and it ties into what I've just talked about now. So if you'll bear with me, we're going to walk over there and go in, and I'll see you in a minute. So we've now come into the left chamber door of the organ as you face the front of the church, and we're essentially on floor level with where you sit. The choir level is slightly raised to allow for the tracker bars to go onto the floor. You've heard me say on occasion that I prefer no food and I like the area kept clean. Well, there's a good reason. I'm not just walking around with a white glove being demanding, but these tiny metal and wooden rods, if any liquid or food were to seep beneath the floor, could cause damage. So very important that we keep this area clean up here for that reason. The floors actually are on hinges. They lift up so you can see all of these lines of perhaps Lisa can pan it over here. I'll just show you a small section where you can see over here. All of those little rods that go up, they're the wooden tracker bars, the mechanical part of the organ. As I say, they come down here, but when they reach the floor, you can't see it from here. If it's safe, we will go over and walk on the floor. They go out from the pipes that you see under the floor and to the organ. They connect directly to keys. So this is the reason why I'm very cautious about keeping things clean. I mentioned our computerized system, which is the non-traditional part of the organ. If Lisa can show you through the ladder here, all these, they're lighting up. This is the computer component part. This is the part of the organ, the only part that's not, shall I say, of ancient and traditional, and is a great aid to us. This is how we capture our memory levels, and there are some other devices on the organ which are electric as well. I said the keys were connected directly. One other interesting and fun thing you can do with a pipe organ is we have 3 keyboards on our organ. You can connect these keyboards to play together the sounds. So if you want to have separate sounds, that's wonderful, you can do that. If you want the upper keyboard to play with the middle keyboard, you can do that. In the traditional organ, there was a coupling mechanism where the keys would couple. So you'd be playing the two, although you're playing on one manual, the keys would move on another manual. Those can be very, very, very heavy to play, if you can imagine a big organ, because the more you add, the more weight, and can indeed cause severe problems for tendonitis. This organ is not coupled mechanically. It's through these circuit boards, so the action is a little bit lighter. There is tracker and there's some depth to it, but when you couple keyboards together, you're not doing all of that weight, all of those bars together. It's done through this, so important to know. I talked to you about the old days where you used to have to pump the air. I'm going to ask Lisa to pan it over here. There's a box that has what looks like wrapped bricks on it. This is our supply of air for the organ. So if I were outside and you were to be in here watching, when I hit the on switch, this pile looks like bricks, you would see this raise. It would be empty and it fills. You can see the black leather around the sides. That's what gives it the ability to open up and fill with air. So this is our supply of air, so that any given time when you want to play a pipe and you release a valve under it, the air is ready, there's pressure in there, and you probably figured out, if your brain is so inclined, the reason the bricks are on there is to regulate the pressure. So there's a certain amount of, it's not too light, too heavy, and this has to do with voicing and making the organ speak into the room at a certain level and sound. So this is our entryway, so we call it, to the organ. Just of note, our heating system, which was very well designed. There's a unit right inside the door. This is the left side. There's one on the right as well. And the nice thing about this organ, and one of the reasons you have had so much luck with carrying and it stays in such good shape, is the only thing that changes and affects the organ is temperature and humidity. As we go up and look at pipes, I'll show you and tell you why. This was designed so that it pulls air constantly through the organ. It circulates in a big circle, so it comes, the air goes up in the back of the church in the balcony, and it comes back down, and it pulled through here, and just there's always a fan in motion, even when the heat and air is not being called for, to keep air running through, which is very key. So this is your heating element. And just if you're curious, there's a little box over here, maybe Lisa can show you. This is our control center for our 3 tower bells, as we call them, outside. This is what programs and makes them ring every day. So I think I've hit everything downstairs. There's a ladder here. Lisa and I are going to climb up, and you can start to see pipes up there that look very big. These are our pedal pipes. So I'm going to meet you upstairs very shortly. All right, so we are entering one of 2 pedal chambers in the organ. As you face the front of the church, these are the extreme, we're in the extreme left, and there's another one on the extreme right. These are one of the chambers that I call open because there's no way to control the sound. The sound just speaks out into the room. These metal pipes that Lisa are showing you, and these are our biggest pipes. You'll notice that some of them didn't actually fit. They had to miter them and build a little roof, so to speak, inside the organ. These are our low pedal pipes. This is our big reed sound in the pedal. And behind here, these wooden pipes, I'll have Lisa turn around, these big wooden pipes. It's safe to stand on there. Yeah, these are our flute pipes here, these wooden pipes. And these metal pipes here, these are our another type of flute pipes. So you can see we use, basically there's wood and metal for our pipes, different types of metal, different type of wood, depending on the quality of sound. That's another topic, but as you can imagine, different metal, copper, tin, whatever, can make a difference in the sound you hear, sweetness or quality of the sound of the pipes. So anyway, while I'm here, it's easier to see on the big pipes. I'm going to have Lisa come over here and zoom in on the flute pipes. This is the actual speaking part of a pipe on an organ, right here, this area. You can see it very easily because this is a big pipe. Another reason why and organists in general, we talk about cleanliness is, as you can imagine, and I'll show you the small pipes, the smaller the pipe, the smaller this area gets. It quite literally can take a little piece of dust or sand in this to make the pipe stop from speaking and sounding. So one of the reasons why filtered air, not opening windows, and keeping the area clean is that it prevents dust and whatever from building up in the pipe, which again, it's easy to take care of. Most organs go through a cleaning process at a certain time, but that depends on how well you've maintained your environment. When it comes to cleaning the instrument, it's quite complicated because you're looking at, essentially, if you look at the way these are lined up, and these are big pipes, it's a big jigsaw puzzle. Everything has to be taken out in order, cleaned, and then put back in. So it's not nearly as easy as when you're dealing with a pipe. So these are our pedal pipes, and I think it's probably safe for us to walk, if you'll follow me. We're going to go and walk around to directly in front of what you see when you're sitting in church. This is the middle keyboard on the organ. We call it the grand orgue, or in America it's the great organ. This is an unenclosed room, so there's no way to control the sound. This is what we use for accompaniment for congregational singing. It's the main and beefiest part of the sound. So I'm going to follow Lisa's going to follow me around, and I'm going to have her pan in here, and you can start to see how pipes are arranged. I've talked about pipes being arranged in rows, and because you need to get to them to tune them one at a time, they generally are arranged with a walkway in the middle, and they go from the largest on the outside to smallest, and sort of I don't know what you call it, generally it goes downward towards the center, a sloping fashion. So this is our great organ, again used for mostly our hymn accompaniments. And you can again see the variety of pipes. I'm going to walk around here, and then Lisa's going to show you, I'm going to have her, actually she's showing you the rest of the pedal. These are the, quote, smaller of the pedal pipes. And then to my right, I'm going to have her turn around, and you see through what looks like these louvers, pipes. This is one of our, as I like to call them, rooms or enclosed rooms, bedrooms of pipes. And I can gently do this. If I move these, you see these louvers slide. These will close all the way and shut the sound in. So this is these rooms that are closed we use for a solo, because as you imagine, one person, you don't want to have too much sound. You will drown them out, it'll be too loud. So we can control the sound and get it very soft by closing these and gradually open it to get it a little louder. Very useful for a soloist or choir when you have more voices, if you want to do soft and get a little louder. So I'm going to have Lisa follow me in here. Here are more of our tracker bars. So you can see, I've mentioned I've done this my whole life, and I still get nervous walking up here. These are all very thin wooden dowels. Imagine a pant leg or a shoe gets caught on these and snaps, that you've disabled a note or an entire keyboard. So very important that you're very careful when you walk up here. Likewise, I've talked about tiny pipes. I'm going to show you the smallest. This is how tiny a pipe can get in the organ. So a flute pipe, you can hear it, it's like a little whistle. Remember I was showing you the speaking part of a pipe. It's easy to see in a big pipe. When you get to a small pipe, it's so tiny that you can see why the smallest piece of dust could render it speechless. So again, this is why the cleanliness is very important. And again, talking about safety coming up here, if you have long pants on as I do and you walk up here along the edge of these pipes, you have to be very careful that your pant leg does not get caught on one of these tiny pipes. The metal is not stiff. It bends very easily, so you do not want to get caught. You can break a pipe off. So I've showed you flute pipes. Now, I want to show you a reed pipe. This is very, very exciting. You don't often get to see these. This is our trumpet stop on the grape. And the difference between a flute pipe and a reed pipe is just that. If some of you played a clarinet, you'll know there's a little reed on it. Well, this is what a reed pipe looks like in an organ. You see this one has a little brass tongue. That's the reed. When air goes up through here, through the bass, it makes this reed start to vibrate. That's where the sound comes from. This is very different from a flute pipe. When we tune these, you can imagine somebody has to sit down there at the organ, and we go through each one at a time. Tuning the reeds are a lot more difficult. They take time because when they're in tune, they're voiced for the room. And if they go out of tune, you have to work in combination of moving the tuning device on the tongue, the little reed, and manipulating the top. Most of you will know what I mean, well, even in terms of forget music, but there are different models of cars, Volkswagen, Mercedes, whatever, BMW. They all have slight differences between them. Well, the same in organs and pianos. You might have a Kawai piano, Steinway, Yamaha. They all have they're built essentially the same principle, but they don't sound the same. You want each one of these pipes to sound the same. So you can't just come in and tune it. This is where it helps to have two people. You need somebody down doing what's called regulation. So while you're tuning it, you have to adjust the slide on the top so that it sounds like the same instrument for each note. So you can see it takes a little while to do that. Tuning the flute pipes is very different. This is a European build organ, which is very different from our American organs. Generally, there's a little collar on the top that goes around, that slides on, and you would go and hit them down or slide them down a little or lift them up to tune. On this organ, the European build, it's very different. Excuse me. All of the tuning has to be done with manipulating the pipe. So you need special tools. You actually put a little device on top of this, and it bends the metal slightly in. Or you take something that's shaped like a Christmas tree upside down, and you put in the top to flare it out slightly. This is how you tune the flute work on a European organ. The nice thing about this is, unlike our American-built instruments, these are incredibly stable. The tuning, really, you don't need to worry about on your principal, your flute pipes. The reeds are a different matter. So once a year at the most, with your flute work, that's fine. Every time the temperature changes, every time our heat comes on, air conditioning, those periods where we adjust and go from one to the other, the reeds get very finicky is the word. They're very, very sensitive, and they have to be tuned in order to sound proper. So that's your basic tuning. Lisa's showing you the back side of the facade of the organ that you see. Most of these pipes are real, and you can see she's showing you, if you look way up, the tiny ones, those up there, you just see the bottom of those. Those pipes you're looking at now are actually dummy pipes. They do not work. They're decorative, they're real pipes, but they're not hooked up. You can see there's nothing in the bottom. You have to have a way to let wind in. So it's a mixture of fake and real. The pipes you're seeing now are below them. These have, you can see at the bottom of the wood, so there's air coming into those. Those are actually real pipes. Since we're here, I'll just open up. I told you this was one of our enclosed rooms. This is actually, I did not tell you the name. This is the Récit in French. This is a French-built organ. built in Germany, very interesting. There's a door in the middle here with latches. So this is how we enter the room. And she can show you what it looks like in here. I'm going to go inside. You can see this is a little bit tighter quarters in here. So same premise, the pipes are arranged, there's a walkway in the middle. Behind me, if you can see them, those are our chimes, tubular chimes. And these are all the pipework for one of our enclosed divisions, as we call them, our bedroom of pipes, or a seat or swell. All right, I'm going to come back out here. And I'm going to close this door, and then I'll just quickly walk you over. I'm going to have Lisa follow me very slowly. We're now going to the right side of the organ as you face it, sitting in the congregation. And we're going to be very careful with these trackers. And we are in the mid-level of the organ, so we're about a floor up from what you see sitting in the congregation. Maybe Lisa can pan through the facade here and show you, just so you have an idea of our orientation to the church. I don't know if you can see out there at all. And our choir is directly in front of this. And then the left side of the chamber, or the right side as you face the organ, this is just like the side we're in, the left side. These are the other side of the pedal pipes. So the same thing, they're lined up the same way, but this is the other side. So I have one more place to take you. We have to go up to the second level, as it were. So I think we're going to probably pause for a minute on this, and we're going to climb a little taller ladder, and I will meet you on the upper level. All right, so Lisa's showing you the original, the first level we came in. That was one level up, and we came up now to the second level, up the ladder, and we're on the uppermost part, in the uppermost part of the organ. I'm going to have Lisa turn around and show you right here and get a perspective of where we are. I don't know if you can see out into the congregation from here. The pews, a little bit through there. Anyway, so we're up on the higher level. Now, why we're focused in, I'll show you this little box here. If Lisa can go back right here where I'm pointing, yes. This little thing is one of our two Zimbelsterns. I don't know how well the lighting is, but if you can see, there are little brass clappers and different brass bells. So when I activate this, the motor makes each one of these turn in succession. There are 5 or 6 of them, and they keep repeating. This is what produces that twinkling sound that you hear. And then on the outside, of course, you see the decorative star spin around. Lisa's focusing in on some more of the flute pipes. I was talking about tuning and how this is a European style. Most of it is what they call cone tuning, where you manipulate the metal. This is an example of a pipe that is one that is not tuned with a cone, but a stopped pipe. There's a stopper in there. You can see a wooden stopper. So to tune these, you would have to slide that up or down to adjust the pitch. That's one way of doing it, a stop pipe. There are some others that actually have, well, here's one right in front of me. These are the tuning slides I spoke of earlier. If you can see this, it's lined in sort of leather here where my hand is going. This is the actual thing. This slides off the pipe, and this is how you make it longer or shorter to adjust tuning. So that would be the second way of tuning. As we come around here, I'm going to have Lisa show you, this is our other of our enclosed rooms, as I like to call them, bedroom of pipes. This is the positive, this is the lower keyboard. The one we came from downstairs, I said was récit or swell. That was the uppermost keyboard. So this is the positive or choir division. Another one that's used for accompaniment, solos or choir. I'll open the door here in the middle and I can give you a look inside here. I'll climb in and Lisa can show you again. It's the same setup as before. There aren't quite as many pipes as you see, so there's a little more room in here, and the walkway is not elevated as it was downstairs. So, combination of wooden and metal pipes. I spoke of addition, so if you like math, you can see now how when you start adding up one pipe per key in each different sound and stop, that the amount of pipes grows greatly. So there's a lot of stuff squished into a very small space. I do like to refer to it as a jigsaw puzzle, which is actually a very apt description of it. I talked to you about those pipes in the front that you see, and the uppermost ones here that were real pipes but not speaking, dummies. You can see there's nothing under them to attach, so there's no air going into those, so they're just there for decoration. I'll walk you around to the other side, and then I think I've hit everything inside the organ. So this is just the uppermost, let me move out of the way, the uppermost of the right pedal chamber right inside the door from downstairs. They go from the floor all the way up. Obviously they're the biggest pipes, and these are our 32-foot size that go up. All right, I think I'm going to go back downstairs and I might show you one more or two more things. So I'm going to pause for a minute and I will meet you as we go down, as we're at the base of the ladder. All right, so we're back down on the middle level and Lisa's showing you where we went. I'd like to show you one more item before I go down, and I'm going to give you a little demonstration which I think you'll enjoy. I'm going to have Lisa sort of crouch down if she can and get some of these wooden bars and these doors right here. I mentioned earlier that when I turn the organ, hit the on button, the blower fills up with air. These, you see they're little, these, if you loosen the screws, these slide and these doors come off. All of these pipes above, you can see if Lisa shows you, are sitting on top of this, what we call wind chest. So this has air in it. If I were to loosen these screws on the front of this and swing this around and take this panel off, air would come, be like a fan. You'd hear the noise, air would come out. So we have our air waiting to be activated from the person sitting down at the keyboard. What will happen is I draw a stop. It may be this stop right here, this set of pipes, maybe this one here behind it, or this one. Whatever stop I draw, if I play a key, this little thing right here is going to pull down. And in this air box, so to speak, under this pipe, there's a little lever, valve, and all it's doing is releasing the valve so the air can go up through a hole. It's letting air out, and it goes through the pipe and makes it sound. So this is essentially the way it operates and connected directly to our keyboard. Now what I thought might be interesting, if you've never been in here, and I don't know that it really happens, but it is quite fun to watch all of these things sliding and moving while somebody's playing. So to conclude, I'm going to go downstairs and position Lisa in a place where there are a lot of these wooden tracker bars, and I'm going to go out and play a short snippet, something that's very fast, so you can see all these things moving up and down, essentially releasing air into the pipes of the organ. And I think that will be a fun way to conclude our little demonstration. I hope this was fun for you. I hope it added a little bit of knowledge and excitement to your understanding of the instrument. To this day, although what I do and our instruments are still come from ancient traditions. We have found ways to make them modern and keep them relevant. And I can't think of a more fun way to enjoy myself than to discover these. And you do want to go out. One of the best ways to learn and discover and appreciate these instruments is to go and see different instruments, because you're not going to find any two alike, which is another reason I love them. Just as in the human race, no two people will ever be the same, it's going to be the same with these instruments. Each one has their own personality, their own uniqueness, and that's what truly makes them a joy to discover, because you get to know a new person essentially each time. So hope you've enjoyed this. We're going to get set up so you can see a little demonstration of the trackers moving. All right, it occurred to me before I play, I want to show you where we're going, where we are and how things work. Where I sit at the organ, we're directly behind where the choir stands. So if you follow the organ right behind the wall, there's a door you can actually open up. And that's where we are. Lisa's showing you all these little wooden rods. These come through the floor here, and they're connected, if you could see under the floor, they go right to the organ. And they come up, there's a right angle here, and then they go up into the organ. So these are many of the tracker bars. When I play, you'll get to see how these all move and essentially operate, make the music possible. First thing I'm going to do, though, is I've switched the organ off. I'm going to go out and turn on the blower, and then Lisa's going to show you how this inflates. It's to my left. This is essentially the reservoir that's being weighted by the wrapped bricks, concrete for the appropriate pressure. So we're going to let you see that all raise slowly and fill up with air. And when that's full, we know we're ready to play. Then Lisa's going to stand a little farther to my right, and she's going to show you all of these little pieces moving back and forth, so you get an idea of what's happening when I play. Here we go.